woman, mother, wife, sister, actress, singer, comedienne, executive producer, TV writer, best-selling author, teacher, director, producer, stand-up comedian, activist.
If I didn't have so many obstacles growing up, I probably would have given up a long time ago working in Hollywood. To me, like people telling me no from the very beginning would prepare me to say, oh, okay, you're going to be an obstacle? Well, wait, I'm going to come back in a way that you're not going to see me. And maybe being undocumented also prepared me, because to me it's kind of like, all right, I'm not going to go through the front door. I'm going to find another way in. So I found another way in as a writer, as a producer, as an artistic director, you know. I tell people, look, sometimes the problem is not the problem. You think that someone saying no or not letting you in is the problem. In reality, you are bigger than what you think you are.
There's enough work, I think, for men. Statistically, they have more work. Television, film, stage. I mean, it's just the truth. And we felt that we needed to make sure that we took care of ourselves as women, and that we were empowered, and that we have our own opportunities, and that we would not have to wait for the telephone to ring from an agent. We could actually do our stage work.
So the very first thing that I learned is that there is no respect for girl writers. The sexism was off the charts. We were regularly, I don't want to use the language, but we had a nickname by a particular head writer, who I will not name, Les Firestein. He called us the cunts. Hey cunts, come on in. We're going to the writer's room. You know, what are you cunts doing? That was our nickname. And I was so naive and so young in the business, I did not realize that was unacceptable. I thought that was, you know, normal.
Yeah, because as a woman, you don't want to make waves.
You're attractive. They always thought that you were just a trophy. You had to work 3 times harder to prove, like, no, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know, you had to really, really prove yourself. Not just sit there. I mean, you really had to work for it.
Yes.
And more so than maybe some other girl who wasn't as cute or whatever. They would automatically think, she must know everything because look at her, she looks like a nerd. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But anybody who had some sort of little style or cuteness or an attractiveness, she's just got that job because, she might be saying one of that one.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where all the men write these roles, and they all want thin women, I guess, that they could rescue and take, they could be the heroes. So that she and I got upset, and I said, well, why does it have to be that way? I said, well, I guess because men do all the writing. And I said, well, I got really angry, and I was like, well, it should be that way. Because you know what? Real women get laid, Real women have kids. Real women have all kinds of things,
Damn, T-Faye, you write like a dude. And I was like, thank you. And I was like, hey, wait a second. What's that mean, you write like a dude? Like, writing like a guy is supposed to be the standard of greatness and excellence? No, I write funny is what I do.
It forced me to say, well, you can't be an actor because as an actress, you're going to be cast as, especially when you're a full figure, like real women have curves, woman, you're only going to be cast as the mamacita or the comadre or the maid. And it was me like saying, wait a minute, then I guess I'll have to write my own roles. And then when no one will produce my plays, and I'd be like, well, I guess I'm going to have to produce my own plays. And then when I couldn't get a theater to do my work, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to own my own theater and be an artistic director.
I really think that violence and drugs, we've talked and made movies and television shows enough about this. I'm so interested in finding out who is doing projects that actually have to do with something positive about humanity. I'm looking forward to those projects.
That aha moment, came. I said, wait a minute, I'm a filmmaker. This is something that I know. And then doing research, I said, wow, I really normalized unhealthy eating habits. And the community normalized it. I said, we need to wake up. So I did my research. I did a script. I pitched it to a few producers. I went to Nali.
As soon as I found playwriting, it's like what they say that when you're ready, you find your mentor. When you're ready, you find your path. It was like the world just opened up. So then I got into school. I got a fellowship. I started writing plays in school, but then I started writing plays with Candido and his company, and I wrote The Universe at that time while I was in graduate school. And I started to get readings, and I started taking all different workshops. So things started falling into place.
actors, dancers, storytellers, performance artists. We were like, we're on to something. So 2 women said, we have the Burbank Little Theater, want to meet there for our first meeting. And by the end of the first meeting, the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival was born.
Wow. But I think how I was able to find my comedy voice was just by doing a lot of different stories and kind of realizing like, oh, this is like me. This is like my personality. This is what I'm drawn to. This is what I like. And I remember, Beth was like a big component about like, what are you selling? Who are you? Sometimes it takes someone else pointing out like, oh, this is what you do naturally, because like you don't even think about it. Like I do a lot of, like Beth was describing me and she said, it's almost like you're like a modern day kind of Lucy. Like you get into these weird kind of things and we don't think it's going to work out for you, but it does.
Well, my first job was in a show in Puerto Rico when I was 17 years old. It was one of those comedy shows, at 12 noon, I would be the girl that would come in. Hi, can I use the phone? That was always my first line. It was a gas station. That's where I started. Channel 4, WAPA TV. That was the first one.
I have always been a news junkie. I just am. I like to watch the news and hear about fresh things. But what I really love about being a publicist and working with rising actors and rising creators is helping them land their first piece of coverage, their first article. The excitement is, I enjoy helping other people, share their talents, right, with the world. And that's exciting. It's exciting for them, but it's exciting for me too.
I was up against the brick wall during lunch outside with one foot up against the thing, listening and singing. And when I opened my eyes, Lydia, there was a semicircle of kids throwing pennies, nickels, and dimes. And it was really cool. It meant a lot to me because I was the school weirdo. To myself, hippie. Mm-hmm. And that was like, okay, that means something. Man, I made some money during lunch. And it was weird, but it meant that they thought I was really good.
I became a paid regular at the Comedy Store. It was my first club. The second one was the Laugh Factory, and it was an amazing time. I mean, I just lived and breathed, ate, slept, and drank comedy and performance. And what ended up happening is that the TV started taking off a lot, and so it was kind of flipping the time that I would spend in comedy clubs. It was more so preparing for my auditions, or if I booked a series that I'm focused on that as well.
I always knew I wanted to do something with the arts, and I thought it was going to be a professional career, but I learned pretty quickly towards the end of my undergrad program that I didn't really want to be spending a lot of time in the business. I didn't want to be auditioning, and I have so much respect for people who do it. It just wasn't for me. What I wanted to do was be in rehearsal forever. So it took me a while to find it, how to get there, but I eventually became a drama therapist, which is really about that relational quality of theater. On the way, I started teaching, working in a school program in the New York public high school system that had no arts programming, with an organization called Opening Act.
All the top jocks were there from across the country: Frankie Crocker, J.J. Jeffries, Jocko, everybody. So after that week was over, I could see this looked like a really cool thing to do. And I figured if these were the top disc jockeys in the country, I knew I could do that. So I looked in the yellow pages, which is the way we did it back then, and I found a broadcasting school.
I wrote this play when I was 19. Right? There's no way I wrote it. Something used me to tell this amazing story about the value of women, of the sacredness of femininity, because I didn't know these things, because I still am discovering this amazing story as all these women who played all these roles, they go, oh my God, I learned this about me. And I was like, I didn't know that. I was like, so I feel that I'm a channel, a vessel, that God or the divine says, no, we need to bring in the sacred feminine. We need to show women that they're powerful. We're using you to tell these stories.
I as an undergraduate, I actually studied economics and Latin American literature. So part of the Latin American literature major was to take the writing expository class in Spanish. My teacher called me one day after class, and I thought I was in trouble, and he's like, "You're a writer. You have a voice already. It just depends what you want to do with it."
I love like method and like getting into the actor's headspace of like, what are some instances that have happened to you that are similar to the script that we can kind of expound upon, and we can really draw out, and we can really create this world. But when we've created it, let's leave it alone so that we can still allow for spontaneity when we're shooting, because now we're in a good spot and we're in a groove. I don't want to ruin that, because then it doesn't allow for sometimes spontaneity to happen. And I'm someone who loves not being so fixated to the script. The script is a great template, but it's not everything. You got to know what you're seeing in front of you, and if it's not working on the day, you have to sort out, okay, what do I do? And I think for directors, it's great to take acting classes if you can, or speak to a lot of actors about, this is the type of language, I would like, or like actors like when you're directing them. And I think it just makes you a better director to know the different types of methods that are out there.
That's what makes actors so compassionate, because when you step out of your zone and you're living the life of a character and you're seeing the world through their eyes, then you have compassion for how other people feel.
First black woman to direct a Cadillac commercial, car commercial.
No, honey, I'm gonna act till the day I die. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
It's an art.
Sometimes do I get overwhelmed or stressed out? Absolutely, right? Like anybody. But I do feel that while my life is incredibly busy, it's incredibly busy with things I love.
I am a miracle of God being here today. I shouldn't be here today, but I am. So I want to be able to share that. And that's really what my give is, for being able to bring it back to the community and talk about surviving as a Latina.
And so I got in that motorhome and I left everything here and left for New York to study acting with Strasberg, of course. And I went to Uta Hagen's Academy also. And I did 2.5 years at the Actors Studio as a slave, I say, as a working observer, which, you're just cleaning the bathrooms so that you can get at least a free session. And you're not supposed to participate in the sessions. But back then, because now the Actors Studio is a different thing, but back then it was only by audition that you could get in. It was a workshop for professional actors only. And I got to see Elia Kazan, Strasberg, Pacino, Arthur Penn.
So you were doing master classes.
Eso. Those were the people that I would clean those toilets for. I don't care, And I ended up being in charge of the Observers program. I was doing the books but then,
For me, writing was the way I was able to channel all that pain, because it wasn't just my pain, it was my family's pain, people's pain. Mm-hmm. Trauma is what divided you, separated you, caused you to leave your body or to feel disconnected and broken. But art is the attempt to make things whole again. And that's why when you paint something and you take all these broken pieces of yourself, you are psychologically playing in the unconscious mind, but you're making things whole. Everything that art does is about saying, look, nothing is disconnected or divided or broken. It's actually already whole. It's the illusion. And by doing art, you kind of chip away at this delusion and illusion of separateness.
Mm-hmm. When you're on set with your kid when they're small, they already know that they're cute. They already know that they can get away with anything, so they're going to be as bratty as they want to be. I would say, Chelsea, Mommy's going to the ladies' room. I will be right back. Mommy always comes back. Or I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Mommy will be right back. And I would go and I'd hide behind a bush or hide behind a wall and watch everything. And then when the director or the photographer would work with her, she'd work with her. No problem at all.
If you're a writer, please write. If you're an actor, act. If you're interested in moving the ability for all of us to make wonderful projects, please learn how to produce.
I don't agree that actors should brand themselves. I think that, if you saw my comedy reel and my drama reel, there is a point where you would not even believe that was the same person, only 3 months apart, doing the same role. I say brand yourself and promote yourself as an actor who knows how to act, who
I-
gives
I'm in
quality
agree-
quality
I'm in
work,
agreement with you.
and stop comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing, because that's their life. This is your life. That's what's important.
Take care of yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit. You don't have to be 100%. You can be broken. It's okay. But don't be hard on yourself. Also, don't make excuses for yourself where you can better yourself. Better yourself. This is, as they say, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Give yourself time. Have outside interest as well. Be an interesting person just, as a person.
Lo que está para ti, no hay nadie que te lo quite. Why? What is for you, it's going to be for you, and no one can take that away from you when it comes to roles.
God help me today. Help me to know you. Help me to walk in the path that you've made for my life. Be in my heart, be in my life, and I thank you for it.